Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Christensen. Hey, you guys! Joined by Jordan Christensen.
Their time up there. It's our time down here.
Are you quoting Justin Timberlake from The Social Network?
When does he say that? I don't remember that.
You remember when he's in the club and he's talking to Jesse Eisenberg? When he's talking to him about... It's like, this is our time. You know what's cool? You know what $1 million is cool? How about $1 billion? Anyway, we're also joined by Cameron Mickle.
I only dropped you once. Okay, maybe twice.
That was a good one.
I only dropped you twice. And we're joined, first come guest, lifetime family friend, Robert Dowtell.
Hey everybody, I just can't tell if that's an A sharp or a B flat.
Hey, we are discussing a very special movie today. We are discussing The Goonies. This is not much of a hidden movie gem if you knew anybody that grew up in the 80s or grew up watching 80s films. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited we're talking about this, guys. Okay, so The Goonies. Jordan, do you have a plot synopsis or a recap?
No.
I have one.
Offhand? All right, 1 second. Oh, you have a camera?
Yeah.
Hit us up.
A group of young misfits called the Goonies discover an ancient map and set out on an adventure to find the legendary pirate's long-lost treasure.
Okay. The Goonies came out in 1985. It was directed by Richard Donner. The writers were Chris Columbus, did the screenplay, and Steven Spielberg did the story. So.
I think it's kind of ironic, Chris Columbus, the name. Talking about pirates, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of funny.
Right on, dude. Yeah, you want to talk about a raper and a pillager, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, he also did other things, right? Revisionist history much? Okay, we got starring Sean Astin, Josh Brolin, Jeff Cohen. By the way, I don't know if you've seen Chunk lately. Jeff Cohen is he's a beefcake now.
Yeah.
Corey
My
Feldman,
man had a mad glow
Cary
up.
Green, Martha Plimpton, Kei Hui Kwan, John Matuszak, Robert Davey, Joe Pantoliano. I don't know if I said that right. And Annie Ramsey and a few others. So let's go around, say what was it like watching this movie for the first time and what was it like rewatching for this podcast. Let's have you start, Cameron.
Freak. I think the first time I watched it, I don't know, I was pretty young. I was like 8 or 9. I don't remember a whole lot about it. I think mom or dad probably walked in halfway through and was like, you shouldn't be watching this. You're not old enough.
Oh, I remember exactly the scene that Dad walked in.
I know when he walked down.
Yeah.
Yep. We were all there, Cameron.
Yeah, because he walked into the scine where he's like, I got some naked pictures of your mom. And then he breaks through the door. Dad walked in right at that part.
What?
Yeah.
Real cheap.
And Dad walked in at the part and he was like, what is this rated? And we're like, it's PG, Dad, I swear. It's an old PG.
Yeah. So yeah,
That should be a catchphrase. I just realized. It's an old PG. That should be like a catchphrase before he should kill someone in a movie and be like, it's an old PG.
not sure how you'd incorporate that, but so
You're
that
right.
was
He
that
should
was
say it after he shot them and they're dead. So
that was probably the first time I watched. I don't
even think you were.
Goonies, and I don't think I finished.
I don't even think you finished it. Yeah.
Yeah,
because Dad told us to turn it off.
So you started it, and then they said you couldn't finish it, right?
And then I saw. I think a couple years later, when I was like 11 or 12 or something like that, because we watch it so frequently in our household. I think I finished it all the way through, and then rewatching for the podcast it made me forget. I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot so much about this film, and it's almost like Stranger Things before Stranger Things.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is like what set off kind of like the teenage adventure stories. I don't know. And the cast is just fantastic. It was really fun. I was watching it with my roommates out there and everyone's like, oh, Goonies? Oh, you're watching Goonies? I love Goonies.
Yeah. All right. How about we go to you, Robert? What was it like watching this movie for the first time? And what was it like rewatching it for this podcast?
Well, to be honest, I don't really remember the first time. I know I was much younger, and watching it for this podcast, I realized the first time I watched it in German, so it clearly was a totally different experience, actually. So it was totally different. But I do remember.
Well, I can attest to
remember,
that. You, Robert, I remember when we were roommates, you made us all watch Despicable Me, and there was only 2 German speakers, and out of like 15 of us, and you made us all watch it in German with English subtitles.
I'm sorry. Have you met any German who doesn't make the rest of the world do everything the German way? So I don't know. I don't know why you're surprised. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you walked into this blind. No, but watching it this time around, the biggest thing for me was these are the early days for Thanos. I completely forgot Josh Brolin was in that movie, and I had to definitely look twice. And then I realized, oh, there you go. He's exercising now to get in shape for that role. 30 years later. But yeah, it was awesome watching again. I definitely remembered a lot of the stuff when I was younger, and then you just notice little things too that you never noticed before. It was kind of cool actually watching it again.
I had to convince like every single one of my roommates that it was Thanos. Everyone's like, him? And I'm like, yeah, it's him. And then everyone's like,
Yeah.
no way. And I'm like, yeah, it's Thanos. They're, oh my gosh, it is. I'm like, yeah.
I wonder if Josh Brolin put that clip that I think they should have just done an extra take on, but I wonder if he used the clip that he said to the girls, like, he elbowed your lip? Oh, wait, you elbowed his lip? Yeah, because that clip, oh, boy. Yeah. Should have done one more take.
Dude, he was thrilled, man. He was so happy. He elbowed Troy's lip. Wow.
sleazebag.
So I don't remember how early it was that I first saw this film, but I remember being compared to Chunk. So I was so excited to see the film. I thought he was like this really quintessential character, and he's kind of like the fat, chunky, fat shamed kid, and that's who I was compared to. So I was like, oh, I'm that guy.
I'm pretty sure they
the
related him
punchline.
to you because he was the funniest.
Yeah, he makes everybody laugh.
Except you'd be like, do the truffle shuffle. Oh, come on. Do it.
I would love to see you do that, I will say.
Oh, my gosh.
Actually, I think I remember back to our roommate days. I may remember that happening once or twice, actually. I don't know.
Doing the truffle shuffle. That's right. Late at night, dude.
What?
That's how you attract the ladies.
Oh, my gosh. Great game night. We were playing the Blockbuster board game that I have. And it's kind of like charades with movies. And Stetler, I don't know if you're listening to this, but he got Goonies, and you had to act out. So he lifts up his shirt and just starts belly dancing. It was the funniest thing, and we guessed Goonies right before the timer went out. Greatest game night ever, but
That's legendary.
Don't think we ever had him over again after that. So, watching it again, this was so much fun. Watching this movie, it's like escapism at its finest. It's very nostalgic. Something about getting together with a bunch of adolescent friends and just getting into trouble or ignoring authorities and doing things to get into trouble. I love that. So this was such a thrill ride. Jordan, how about you? What was it like watching it for the first time and rewatching it for the podcast?
I don't necessarily remember the first time ever. I believe, because this is amongst the movies that we didn't grow up owning until I started buying DVDs, because Mom and Dad wouldn't own this movie. It was this and Willow. For some reason, they didn't own those 2 movies. I think it's because this movie swears quite a bit for a kid's movie.
Yeah, it starts off with the S word like 5 minutes in. I was like, well, snap.
Yeah. Well, but then we got that TV Guardian machine Ty that would edit all the words. And so I think that's when they allowed us to have it. But yeah, we watched it, I think, for the first time with our cousins, loved it. And then rewatching it for this podcast, yeah, just made me very nostalgic, wanting to kind of make videos again and kind of just watch those old school movies because they are fantastic.
That's great. So we're going to go around and say 2 of our favorite things from this film. Let's start with Jordan this time.
Oh, right back at me. Okay, so
Yeah.
going right off of what I just said, the nostalgia part of it, I love the music, kind of that 80s, 90s era. I just love, I don't know, it's these kids, I never grew up having any desire to swear like these kids, but I guess every kid kind of goes through that stage. But I love how much, like, as a kid, you want to, like, your imagination is going wild. And so, like, this treasure hunt is the perfect there's just something about that I love. It has essentially everything. I just like that you can still watch it today and still enjoy it. Like, it has everything I feel like a kid would want to see in a movie, but also you can still enjoy it as an adult. I don't know if it's a kid's movie because after watching it, I'm like, oh shoot, there's a lot of things like kids shouldn't be watching in this movie, but it's an excellent film. And the second thing would have to be, it's really fun to see these actors, you know, where they first started and then where they are today. Like Robert said, just seeing Josh Brolin again.
And Samwise Gamgee or whatever. We just recently watched The Lord of the Rings, so it's weird seeing him going from that to this.
Yeah, but I mean, I haven't seen him in anything recently. He was in Stranger Things.
Stranger Things too. Yeah.
That's right, season 2. What was his name in that movie? Was it Ben? Poor Ben.
He'll always be Samwise to me, dude.
Yeah, poor Sam.
Poor Sam.
R.I.P. All right, well, not in real life, but in that show, Stranger Things.
Spoilers.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
They're going to see it.
If you haven't seen Stranger Things already, I mean, then you're kind of behind.
If you haven't seen Stranger Things, you probably don't know what Netflix is. Okay, so we're going to go into... Robert, why don't you share your 2 favorite things from this film?
Sure. The first one is going off of what Jordan was saying. I like that this is the type of movie that you can watch as a child or an adult, because I feel like some movies get it right where you can watch it and it just makes an adult think back to when they were children or what they would have liked their childhood to be, or, you know, anything of that nature. And I think this is probably one of the most successful movies, I think, at that, just kind of helping you feel like, I wish my childhood had been like that. Or if you were an adventurous kid, man, I miss those days or whatever. I think that's where I think this movie, if not the best, is at least one of the best movies that I've ever watched. So I definitely love that. And then one other thing is there's one scene specifically that I just always have really appreciated and I always thought was really sweet, is where I was about to call him Sam Gamgee, or Sean Astin, Mikey, is talking about like, hey, we need to do this anyway because, you know what, our parents are always looking out for us, and this is our turn to pay back a little bit. And I thought that was really sweet because, you know, a lot of the times today we look at kids and we're like, oh my gosh, these ungrateful brats. I was never like that. And and obviously, you know, I do think there's a change in generations and all that, of course, but it was just kind of sweet to hear that, and I do believe there's still people like that today. But I think it's something really important. I think that shows relationships between parents and children that you would hope to establish. You know, where hopefully your kids will think of you that way someday.
Spoken like a true father.
I can't help it. So.
No, Robert, I had a transformation. I'm like a sucker now. When I see a movie where like something happened to a kid and the father crying, I'm like,
you cry. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're like,
and even when it's not, it's just like slightly implying it. It's like, okay, I'm crying now.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Thanks for sharing, Cameron. How about you? 2 of your favorite things?
I think my first thing, obviously, is it's so quotable. I love the lines in this and the way that they're delivered. Just make me laugh every single time. Like the way Chunk delivers his lines, and then same with Mouth. Like the way he says stuff is just so funny. Like when he talks to, what's her name, Rosalita.
Oh my gosh.
It makes me laugh so hard.
Best scene in the movie.
He's like talking about like torture chamber or whatever. He's like, and if you don't do a good job, we'll lock you in here with the cockroaches. And then she's like, a bunch.
Yes.
And
His Spanish was perfect.
Yeah, it was so awesome. So I just love how quotable it is. There's so many times I was just laughing. I'm based on like what they said, like I only dropped you once. Okay, maybe twice. And there's just multiple times where I was just dying laughing. And then another thing that I really liked is just kind of going along with, similar to, not only is it a star, like a bunch of stars in this cast, but then also I feel like every single character, I want more screen time of each character. And that's what I love, and I think it does really well, is that, like, for example, I want more Chunk, and then I want more Mouth, and then, like, I want more Mikey, just everyone. See, with Brand, like, I love kind of their dynamic with the the girl or whatever, like every moment like that they have that is romantic, like it isn't. And then like the one moment where you don't think it's gonna be romantic, she falls in or whatever, and then he like dives in after her, and then like they kiss. Every single character I felt like was just really special. And like even Rosalita,
Here,
I
let me
love
get
how
those
she
restraints off you. Oh wait, no, that's fine. You don't need to get these restraints off yet. Let's just share
and then
this
like
moment.
I love how kind of every character is sort of important, almost like every character played a role. Like how Short Round, I don't even know his name in the movie. What's his name in the movie?
Oh, Data. Well, they call him Data.
Yeah,
I don't even know
Data.
if that's his real name.
Yeah, Data. Yeah, that's and so like how he like punches the guy with like the chest, and like his chest punching like glove, and just like everyone's different thing. And at the end, Rosalita like finds the jewels. I'm not sure what she's like doing, rummaging through random people's clothes, but you know. So I just love just kind of like the development of every single character, and how every character is just like its own specific thing. Kind of reminds me of the Coen brothers.
It's great. Yeah, Cameron, you're absolutely right. My two favorite things, these characters are so iconic. I mean, this group of friends couldn't possibly be any more different from each other, which is what it almost leads into nitpicks where it's like, I have this crazy group of friends, like these kids would never associate with each other.
Whatever, Ty. The people that we associated with at high school, nobody would have ever thought we would have been together.
No, I get it. But then again, I'm like, we weren't all that different. We were all dweebs, so
Well,
we're all the
college.
same that way.
I still wonder why I hang out with you.
Well, there's not exactly too many popular kids in their group. Are you kidding me?
No, it's true.
Literally, the only
well-
one that's like sort of popular is his older brother, who's like not even popular.
Not even him. Really, Andy is.
Yeah, he's
Andy's
picked
like
on
the
by
only
Troy.
one.
Yeah,
Maybe,
he's bullied by
Yeah.
Troy.
maybe Andy by
And
association.
nearly murdered by Troy.
Yes. I was calling that out today. I was like, dude, if I found out about that kid would be wow. That's insane.
Hey, Ty, Goonies never say die, okay?
Yeah, he would have been fine. Well, that's one thing I was going to ask you. Does Josh Brolin fit in the Goonie status? Is he a Goonie then?
Well, he is because he lives
interesting.
in that because he lives in the house, right? It's about the Goonport, right? So technically, yes.
I guess technically yes. I was just curious. I guess it's anyone that goes on the adventure, but because like I guess Sloth is a Goonie, right? He becomes a Goonie. What moment does Sloth become a Goonie when he helps Chunk? I don't know. Anyway, I love the relationship with Chunk with Sloth. It's super weird and creepy, but don't look at it too much. It's super fun and super sweet.
My wife and I were talking about that at the end when he's like, "You're gonna come live with me." I'm like, dude, if my daughter ever shows up with, I don't even care if he's like slothing on anybody, like any person. Hey, yeah, this person's gonna live with us now. I'm like, yeah, that's gonna fly.
I'll speak for my family. I'm gonna take care of you. Oh my gosh, that scene! Oh my word! Oh man, it's so funny. Yeah, and then my second favorite is just the quotes. I mean, so you have iconic characters, and then the quote. This is so quotable. Like,
yes,
we'll get into that, but so many funny quotes, genuinely funny, and a lot of it holds up to this day. There's something special about just kids goofing off and treasure seeking for some reason. Like, I don't think that really ages, you know? Even though I don't really understand how one guy finding a bunch of jewels, he can just tear up the contract. I'm so confused about that. But maybe it was a different time. I don't know. There'll be no more signing.
I love that part.
It's so 80s. It's so great. Like, it's so dramatic.
But even better than that is the fact that when he throws up the pieces of paper, you can literally see a second stack of pieces of paper being thrown up next to
in the
it.
air after. Yeah, he throws it in the air and then
That was definitely the best part of the whole movie right there. I laughed
They
so
need to
hard.
make it more dramatic. It needed more pizzazz, you know?
Or at least put it up in the
anyway.
same line. No, we put it up into the other side of the screen.
Yeah, that was funny.
And yeah, so that's my two. The characters and then how quotable this movie is. So let's get into nitpicks or some funny things. You mentioned a good one with that funfetti. That was something I noticed. Another funny one, I thought it was originally a goof, but I remember seeing a deleted scene where they were attacked by an octopus on their way to the ship. They're a giant squid or octopus, right? And they fight it. And then at the very end, so they cut the scene out. And at the end, when they're interviewing them, all the cameramen, they're like, so what was it like? Tell us. And he goes, yeah, it was crazy. The Fratellis, these mobsters were after us. They almost killed us, and we were attacked by an octopus. And they're like, octopus, that sounds so scary. And you almost think that the kids are embellishing, because if you didn't see the deleted scene or ever hear about it, you're like, did I fall asleep during this movie? Where did the octopus come from? Like, they all say it, and they sit with a straight face, and because they originally had cut the this whole fight with this octopus. I just thought that was really funny.
Oh, they left the dialogue in, though?
About it. What's that?
They left the dialogue in then at the end?
Yeah, they left it at the end. They're like, the news camera were like, so what happened? He's like, yeah, we were attacked by this giant octopus. And you're like, and the reporter's like, octopus? Like, wow, that sounds intense. Like, it's so funny. So that was one, but it's not a nitpick, but it is one of those things where in post, they cut the scene for either it's just like the flow of the movie or whatever for time or whatever, but they ended up taking it out, but they left that line of dialogue in. So it just sounds like kids are embellishing, and you're like, why would they make up this story?
I've seen the octopus scene. That's a smart decision to cut it. It's cool looking. Don't get me wrong, like, because they actually made this giant octopus and it's radical, but I mean, it's pretty cheesy.
Yeah, it just doesn't flow with the rest of the movie really well, But what's an adventure movie without like a monster or two, right?
Yeah.
Dude,
Rabies.
Dude, one of my biggest nitpicks was that mom, dude. Talk about the worst mom of all time. She walks in, her like child's on the ground, like strapped to the chair, and he's like, "Ah, ah!" And then she's like, "No, shh." She's like, "We're making a mess or whatever." And she's like, "Where's the kid?" She's like,
"Why can't you just work out like a normal kid?"
Yeah. And then she's like, "Well, where?" She's like, "Where's?" I think she asked where her son is. Yeah. She's like, "Where's Mikey?" He's like, "Ma." Just trying to get her attention. She's like, does not care, and is so irrelevant. She's so
Well, the best part is when Rosalita walks in the room afterwards laughing at him because she's like, this family's crazy. Siempre que hay separar las drogas. He's like, you always separate the drugs. I love that.
The cocaine right here, the speed, the marijuana. And she's like, so what?
So, other nitpicks you guys have, or least favorite parts about this?
No, I mean, maybe it's a nitpick, but it's more of like, perhaps it takes away from the suspense of it, and it makes it more lighthearted, which I guess it is a kid's movie. But when they turn these three characters into the Three Stooges, like, I'm okay with it. I love it personally because I'm a huge Three Stooges fan. But like, just constantly, like, I remember as a kid not even being threatened when they were going to put his hand into a blender, which should be a terrifying thing. But the kid saying like, "I'm too young, I want to play the violin." Like, he's like saying these really funny lines before he's about to get his hand blended and shredded into pieces. So, I mean, I love it. But like, there's great quotes like, she's like, somebody broke the water thing, the water cooler. And he's like, oh, it must have been a tremor. Here's your tremor. And she slaps him. Like, it's such a Three Stooges thing to do. But I love it. And I just...
So, yeah, one of my nitpicks was the idea that he, like, fake hangs himself in his jail cell.
Do you really think I'd hang myself?
Yeah, and he leaves a note. The policeman comes in, and then he, like, acknowledges and smiles, and then proceeds to hit him upward with his hands, like the most wimpy hit. The cop like faints. Now,
hey, he's an old cop.
Seeing him, did he reach for keys? I don't even remember him grabbing keys. He pretty much just leaves out the way that everyone else went. I guess he jailbreaks that way. I didn't understand the whole prison escape thing, and they just waited there. Their whole thing was just to shoot the ground and gasoline. It was like the most 80s jailbreak thing I've ever seen, where I'm like, I get it, they're bandits, they get away, but I was like, how did he just escape from jail?
Yeah.
It didn't follow any logic for me. That was me. So
what were you going to say, Robert?
Oh, I was just going to say, I think the only thing that for me is maybe a shortcoming is kind of goes off of the strength, which is weird, but one of the things we love is that all the characters are so strong and present and awesome and everything, but because of that, one of the shortfalls is that there isn't enough time in the movie to really get to know them more. Like, you meet Data, who is such a strong, like, present character, but then the only thing you know about him is at the very end, like, his dad did the little camera thing. Like, you know nothing about, like, these characters really very much. Where you would love to know more. I think that's the only thing that, like, I almost feel like, and this is probably a bad idea at the same time, but it's almost like this is one of the movies where you kind of want to a sequel. You know, they shouldn't do it because they'll just ruin the first one with it. But you know what I mean? Like, you almost wish it's like one of those where you read a book and then you get to the end of the book and it's like, okay, what happens now? It's it's kind of like one of those where you almost want more information from it. So that's one thing. And then the other little thing that I noticed is, it's just a little note, but they actually call Josh Brolin Josh several times in the movie by accident instead of calling him Brand. Yeah, in the attic it happens at least twice, and I know later down the road Mikey calls him Josh again in the basement. So those are just the times I noticed. I don't know if it happens more, but
what's his character's name? What is it?
Brand.
Oh, it is.
And
Brand.
and Mikey,
She definitely called him Josh. See, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, they call him Josh several times.
Brand.
So anyway,
They're
that's
just
it.
like, you're Josh Brolin.
Yeah, that's it.
I love that. That's so funny. And one of them called him Thanos at one point. It was super weird.
Oh, did he?
So another great thing. So I don't want to besmirch any of the characters, but I will. I think you're right. I think that they didn't have time of creating a character arc for each character because when I was a kid, Data was the coolest kid of this group. As an adult, I watch it and he annoys the out of me. Sorry. I'm sorry. Data is so annoying. I was like, if my friends had a kid like that, I mean, sure, it's great. His whole thing, when he gets punched in the face with his own thing, that made me really satisfied and really happy. For some reason, I just didn't like Data's character.
Why don't you like Data? Oh my gosh.
I don't know. It just that was one thing I was disappointed in. Like when I watched it again, I was like, oh, I don't like his character very much.
Booty blinders. You mean? Oh no.
Booty traps.
Booty traps.
Booty
that's
traps.
what it was.
Don't you mean
You
booby
mean booby traps?
I
That's
said
what I
booby
said.
So yeah, for some
Dr.
reason,
Jones?
I don't know.
That's all I could think of the entire show. Dr. Jones?
No, you know what I was thinking, Ty? Actually, for a nitpick, is his little thing that comes out of his hand, and it's those teeth that grab on the wall.
Goodness,
There's no way that would have held his weight. He would have been falling right down.
Or even latch
And
on
impaled.
to a stalactite. Yeah, like that wouldn't it wouldn't latch on to anything.
Yeah.
Let alone the guy's nuts, okay. To raise it in his guy's junk,
Also, then when he like hits the one thing with like the glue or the gum on her gun, and then she just doesn't move and like lets him just come towards her. I was like, what? You're not gonna like retaliate?
and then proceeds to drop the gun. Yeah.
Maybe she was in so much shock, like, I can't believe what's happening. She's just like...
Yeah, she was just as much shock as the audience, dude. Just like, what the fudge is happening?
Two really funny uses of puppets and like prop people was when Sloth comes sliding down the curtain or the pirate ship sail. Chunk hanging on his back is literally like a rag doll. You see his feet like dangling, and then when he proceeds to swing on a rope and catch, I don't know who. I think it might be Josh Brolin. No, it was the next two people in line. I think the other girl, short hair girl, and someone else. Yeah, Nalth maybe. Yeah, and he just like swipes in and collides with their bodies. And again, you look closely enough, they're just like two rag dolls propped up at the end of the blank, and he just smashes into them and swings back. It's just really funny to look for those kinds of things where it's like, yeah, that would be an impressive stunt to do. So obviously, holding onto a rope with one hand and then swooping in, picking up two people. It was just really funny to see the rag dolls. Like you can clearly see them. But it's so wonderful. Who am I to nitpick? Another weird thing. It's not even a nitpick. How did they get Sloth's ears to move? It made me feel so uncomfortable. Every time his ears were like flopping.
That is the strangest part ever.
Ruth, baby, Ruth, and his ears are like flopping. It's so gross. It makes me feel so uncomfortable.
Dude, that scene though is one of my favorite scenes ever. Like the amount of times where Chunk just randomly screams because Sloth screams. He's just like, ah, and Chunk like, ah! Just out of like sheer fear, man.
I also like the scene where I don't even know if it's a nitpick. I don't even know what to categorize this. It's just when they bring the pizza back to the restaurant, they're all yelling and they had the money printing press going and they were all screaming because they saw a dead guy.
$50 bill, Ty! $50 bill!
Yeah, well, and then all of a sudden they're like all screaming and put the dead body back into the fridge, and then they come home and those those floorboards are like super like sketch because you could like hear everything through them. I just thought it was funny that they didn't hear them when they got back in the restaurant because they were just screaming moments before. But
No, okay. Well, I had one to pay. I didn't understand what was the purpose of the $50 bill printing. That was like never brought up ever again.
Well, no,
just-
it's how the Fratellis have been essentially buying things with fake money.
Well, there was
pizza and
there,
things like that.
there was
Like,
there
what
was
do they
no
ever spend their
back.
money on?
There
I'm
was no
totally
back
with you,
to the dollar
Cameron.
bill. If you look at it on the sheet, it's only one-sided. It's not.
Yeah, I'm saying
double-sided.
you could get away with it. They just hand the people, you know.
And the person
Well, Cameron,
autistic, like not gonna look at the
it's not
other side.
completed, don't you? I think they run it through the other side too, don't they?
Yeah,
like, I'm sure they
Cameron.
have a. It only prints one side of a dollar bill.
That's what like when he grabs it, it's only one side, and they're like, "This is fake. Come on."
It's about as useful as
Also,
when
when-
Creed from The Office offers like $3 bills to the charity. or
Dwight, the Shroot Bucks.
Or no, dude. The part I loved is at the end when Chunk's parents like pick him up and they have pizza, dude. I was laughing so hard. Like they just bring him pizza after almost nearly dying. Like they know their son so well.
Well, and how did they
Lots
have
of
time
fat
for that?
shaming, but it's still funny to this day, even though I feel so bad for Chung. I hope that actor ever lived it down. I feel like people would have been like, do the truffle shuffle. He's like, leave me alone. Like, I wonder if he ever lived it down. I would love to see him today in interviews talk about it. He's like, yeah, I'm totally cool.
Not like
they
that poor
ruined
Anakin.
Anakin.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. They ruined that poor kid Anakin from Star Wars. Both young and old Anakin. Hayden Christensen and whatever the actor's name was. So sad.
This is pod racing.
He probably got that in the streets all the time. That poor kid.
Chunk, I guess the power of Baby Ruth was enough to motivate Sloth to tear his chains out, but I guess he'd done it before, right? He said like,
Yeah,
his
I don't want to go back
restraints,
to the
he'd been
zoo
able to
again.
get out before, so I just like the power of Baby Ruth. You know, it gives you strength to break chains. Pretty awesome.
And he's
Dude,
like, "Whoa,
Steven
you're
Spielberg's
hungrier than I am."
Dude, Steven Spielberg's all about that candy and being like iconic, like the Reese's Pieces in E.T.
Yeah, it's like a plot. It moves the plot forward, like something about kids offering candy to some creature, right? Yeah.
Dude, he probably makes a crap ton of money too from those companies. Just saying.
And to be honest, that's my nitpick. I don't think anyone's ever been motivated by a Baby Ruth, so just gonna say it right there.
Rocky Road.
Okay,
Oh wait, I do have a
wait,
nitpick. I have a
another
nitpick. No, I got one. It's probably Cameron's, but can you really smell ice cream? I'm just curious. Does it smell? I just.
When you have
Mine's
a refined palate like Chunk does, he has an acute sense of smell.
mine's similar to Jordan's, but in the fridge scene, you can see the dead body when he hits Chunk. Like when they're face to face, and then also later in the fridge, you can see the guy slightly like smile when Chunk's like,
Yes.
he's like, you stay right there, and you see
Yes,
the guy like,
and like moving
like,
slightly too. You could tell
grin.
he wasn't completely stiff either. Yes, I
Yeah.
noticed that.
I was
That's
laughing really
hilarious.
hard.
Yes.
That scene, like, why would they let his like dead body on his face? He touched me.
I always thought the line was disgusting, but he goes, "It's a stiff." Yeah, it's like it's a stiff. It's so great. It's just like cheek to cheek too. It's just like so gross. That music they played though, holy crap, that was terrifying. Like
Yeah.
straight out of Psycho, you know.
Yep.
High pitched string music. Oh my gosh, it terrifies me. Let's get right into quotes. There's plenty of them from this movie, or favorite scenes. So just rattle them off as you think of them.
To me, it's what I said earlier, and maybe that's really dumb, but being kind of a music guy, I thought it was really funny that she said, "I don't know if it's a A sharp or a B flat," which is literally the same key on a piano. So it's
Is it really?
Yes, I
And
just
then-
thought
and
it was
then right-
hilarious how dramatic that was. Like, I don't know what it is, and I'm like, are you serious right now?
and Mikey follows it up with, "Hey, if you hit the wrong note, we'll all be flat."
Yeah, I
And
know.
then everyone's like,
Which is the
"Not
only
the
reason
time
they
for
did
puns."
that, just so they could make
Hey.
that statement.
I guess that goes into a nitpick. Do you think she would remember anything when she was 3 years old? Isn't that what they said? I'm like,
Absolutely
no way.
not. And especially
Dude,
it's not like
it's
riding a
all
bike.
coming back
No.
to me now. I'm sure it is.
One of my favorite quotes is
Real quick. And that piano, how could you read anything? Like, it's just a bunch of skeleton fingers. It's not like it was like identifiable
I
as a
actually
piano
looked
key.
at that, but they were not at all lined up that way. And I love how she said, "Oh, I gotta find the middle C." And I was like, first of all, you didn't even make an effort to find it. It's like, I gotta find it. Oh, I found it. What? There wasn't like you could have spent 10 seconds being like, okay, maybe this is that, maybe that's that. Oh, I found it. No, it's just I need to find it. Boom, hands down, I found it. And that scene really bothered me. Maybe me more than others because I do music and play piano.
No, don't worry.
But
You just have to button mash. You just have to button mash.
Yeah,
Just smash them all at
exactly.
the same time, and then you'll hit the key, right? It's like you hit
Oh
them
my
all at the
goodness.
same time.
one of my favorite quotes was when Andy fell on top of Brand, and then Chunk looks at him and they're about to kiss. He's like, "Shame, shame," and I know your name. And he's like, "Come on, Brand." He's like, "Come on, Brand, sliver the tongue." I was laughing so hard.
One of my favorites from Chunk was when he's running away from the basement and he's out at night. It's
hate
terrifying
nature.
to be out in the forest or in the
by
And
yourself.
he's just like, I'm alone in the dark. I'm not alone in the dark. I like the dark. I love the dark. And then he hits like a tree. And he's like, but I hate nature. I hate nature. So good.
No, I love when he's waving down a car tire and he's like, I'm just a kid.
And to think he missed a car. That other
Yeah.
car could have been someone to take him home in the very next car. He goes up, "Please, sir, you have to help me. We ran into some of these terrible thugs, the Fratellis. Maybe if you've heard of them." And he's like, and I think they've killed somebody. And he turns on the light. Such a great character reveal. Oh my gosh. And then they throw him in the trunk and he's right next to the cadaver again.
I love the part when Chunk's trying to what's it called, convince them to go home. He's like, Mikey, come on. Our parents are worried. He's like, it's dinner time. Why don't we go home? I love how his like selling point was the fact that it's dinner time, as if it was as important for everyone else.
Oh, come on, guys. Does anyone have a candy bar?
Shut up, Chunk.
Okay, speaking of food and Chunk, the scene where he's, wow, a police chase! He's in the arcade and he goes up to the glass. He literally, biggest sin, my nitpick, he has the pizza and he puts the pizza cheese side up and pushes it against the glass. Who the freak does that? Like, anyway, then he like squishes the yogurt and it explodes in his face. He's just like, ah, shit! so funny.
I love the part where
So
like
funny.
they ordered, like I love how much pizza was involved. The part where they're all trying to be quiet or whatever. He's like, pepperoni, and it goes upstairs and it shows him. He's like, oh, give me some pepperoni, and then the guy like throws the pizza slice at him and he pulls a gun on him. I'm like,
Go ahead, I'll kill you for pepperoni.
I was like,
Go there
they're-
for some
I was like about to
Because
kill
they're
each other for a
Italian.
slice of pepperoni. Oh my gosh.
What I want to know is how much money went over the table for Domino's to have a slight little moment there at the end. Because Chunk's mom, you see her opening the box just enough so you can tell and
See
read
Domino's, yeah.
on the side there.
It's like what you get for fighting a whole crime family. Just reward your family with a fresh piping hot pizza. I love what was I gonna say? I forgot already. Dang it. It was so funny, but it was about the food. I can't remember it.
I love
You
the
guys
quote
keep
right
going.
when they sit in. I'm trying to remember. It's like when he's like, don't you have a like? This doesn't look like water. She's like, it's wet, isn't it? Drink it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It's like brown liquid. It's like,
It looks like
straight
freaking,
up
like
alcohol.
lighter fluid or
Oh,
something.
I got a good one from Chunk when he's like playing with the water. He's like, "You gotta go to the bathroom, Mikey." And then he's like, "I love it when Chunk leans in and he's like, you don't want to go to the bathroom here?" And the lady's like, "Why not?" And he's like, "Oh, there's Daddy Longlegs." And he's like, "And dead things, Mikey, dead things."
No, and get this. I didn't catch it ever before. If you look in the background when he says, he goes, "Yeah, this isn't the kind of place you want to go to the bathroom." And he looks around and he goes, "There's Daddy Longlegs." And then he looks around in the background behind Mikey. Only Chunk sees it. You see one of the Fratellis carrying the dead body.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, really?
He sees the guy carrying the body and he goes, "Dead things, Mikey, dead things." It's so freaking
Well,
funny.
and he saw
But
the car with the bullet holes too, so he like sees all the stuff nobody else sees.
Big.
Yeah, and he's hyperventilating all the time.
Oh my gosh! But the boy who cried wolf, right?
Oh,
seriously.
When he calls the policeman, I love it too. When he's like, "This is like that time you told me about the gremlins that came over to your house," or
Which is another Steven Spielberg movie,
terrorists.
which is funny.
Also,
Literally
okay,
recounts
no.
the gremlins.
Produced by
That's what
Steven
this-
Spielberg.
a slight
Michael Jackson
nitpick.
came over to use your bathroom, or
Okay, it wasn't Michael Jackson. It was his
it
sister.
wasn't Michael Jackson, but his sister did.
One slight nitpick was also there was a couple times when they would tell people to shush, that they would shush themselves before someone would tell them to shush. Like you would see, like they would start talking, and they would go, like they would put their hand over their mouth to like shush themselves, and then they'd be like shh, and then they like go to put their hands on like that person's mouth, and I was like a little preemptive, but whatever, we'll let it slide.
Yeah, there's a couple of those where the timing's a little bit off. Same with Brand, Josh Brolin, when he was thrown off the road with the bike. His mouth was closed when he was screaming, so they like must have laid that overlay.
Oh,
over
ad-lib that in, yeah.
And then
Yep.
also when they played the last chord on the I guess the bone piano, whatever. The sound that goes off in the organ, like the success sound, whatever, goes off before she even pushes the buttons. Like I've noticed that a few times. I think there was just the post editing, or it wasn't on point sometimes.
Didn't line up.
That's so great.
I got another one when Mal tells him, he's like, I got an idea. Well, let's cover the ground in chocolate, and then we'll have Chunk eat his way through.
Yes.
That's so great.
But it's these
I
crazy
love
things that
Mama
make the
for-
movie better. Seriously though.
I love Mama Fratelli after the kids all leave the bar, the restaurant. She's just like, kids suck.
Yes.
I'm like, amen.
I'm a parent and I relate.
Okay, I gotta say, worst actor has to be Troy. I mean, he was so annoying. Andy!
Oh my
you
gosh,
goody!
yes.
Like, who paid that kid? That guy,
Yes.
did he ever have a career as an actor? Because he was so over the top and so cheesy and wooden. Daddy!
Yeah, dude, that was so funny. I'm like, what type of like 17-year-olds like screams daddy? And I was like, what on earth?
Well, and how is that
Also-
your response after you got thrown into the ceiling of a toilet? Like how? No, I don't know. I'm sorry.
Also, what was their plan again? They're like, let's get people's attention by banging on the pipes. Like,
I
I'm
know,
sorry.
dude.
When I have a problem with my pipe, I'm not thinking, hey, maybe there's a ragtag team of kids crawling in the sewers that need my help. It's like, oh, well, the toilet won't flush again. It's not like, oh, stop what I'm doing and call up authorities and investigate. Like, I don't know. What was their plan?
Well,
And
And then,
then-
and
Chunk
Sloth is
and-
responsible for several human deaths. He pushes pipes and then cars like
That was so
crash on the
tough.
highway or something. I don't know where those pipes were.
Yeah,
And I love
underneath
how
the
when Chunk
road.
and Sloth walk into that room later on, and the pipes are like going all over the place. I was like, "What is happening on the surface right now?" Like, I just imagine, like, what if I was happening underneath my house, like with my pipes, like. What would be going on with the faucet and my shower head? Like,
I love
snaking
how
all over
Chunk
the
too was
place.
like, oh yeah, they've definitely been here.
Yeah, they do this sort of thing.
yeah, these
Dude,
guys
that
again.
that water fountain scene was so excessive. That was so funny. The guy trying to drink the water and it was like going up and
Yes.
down, and he was like, "What is happening?"
Also,
running
what was
through
so crazy that whole scene in the well, I don't know why. I feel like it's in a different movie for some reason. Maybe that's just because
They
they're
feel
like
detached.
trying to tone up the serious part of it. But it's like,
Yeah.
like Sean Astin gets super intense. So does Mal. He like has this. He's like, yeah, well, this was my wish. I wish
And then it's never
I'm taking them
explained.
back. I'm taking them all back. It's just like, holy crap, Mal. He's just like he's going so, and it wasn't even funny. It was just like so straight faced. Just hard to take it seriously. But that was great. Yeah,
Oh
so
my
so
gosh.
freaking good. Hey, Robert, we want to respect your time. Do you have a few more minutes, or do you have to get off soon?
I got 2 more minutes.
2 more minutes, okay. Because we always end every podcast because we want to get you sharing movies that you've seen lately and movies you're looking forward to seeing.
Oh, no, okay. Okay, you guys should talk about something else for 1 more minute and then come
Okay,
back to
think about
no,
those.
think about it.
So yeah, Robert, you think about those movies that you've seen lately, and honestly, It can be movies you've seen last year. It doesn't matter because we're parents. We never get around to seeing movies. Jaron thinks I'm Amish. He doesn't think I even go to the theater anymore.
Well, I
don't,
think I can. I think I can say it actually.
Yeah. Okay, let's hear it.
And I know this might be a mainstream. I don't know, but actually, one of the few movies that I was really impressed with because of its originality, not even necessarily how it was done, but it was Tenet. I actually was positively impressed and surprised that somebody came up with something original, new, different, complicated, and it's not for everybody. If it's definitely a little convoluted at times, but it's an awesome movie. So I really like that one.
Tenet convoluted.
So I really liked that one. As far as movies upcoming goes, I don't think there's a specific movie per se that's upcoming that I'm excited for. But I am super excited for Stranger Things the next season when that finally comes, whenever it comes. I think I don't know. I don't know if too many upcoming things particularly. I kind of
do you follow the superhero stuff, Robert? I remember.
I do.
Are you? Yeah,
I do.
Like
I am excited. I'm excited for Wanda and Vision. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I guess it's not a movie; it's more of a show. But I'm excited for that
Right.
one actually.
I just saw a trailer for that. I didn't know anything about it except like what I've seen from the Avengers, and the trailer looked like it's kind of like one of those glitchy horror creepy towns things. So I'm excited. I just saw a trailer for it and I was like, oh, that's not what I was expecting. So I am excited to see that too. So
Yeah,
that's awesome.
that is definitely true.
I don't know. So it's kind of fun. This whole new wave of superhero films where they're kind of doing the more indie stories. I like them more than the whole accumulation.
Yeah.
And not to belittle, I mean, it is an incredible feat to do something like the Avengers, but I like the smaller Ant-Man heist movies, me personally. So, well, that's awesome. So, Robert, like I said, anytime you need a bounce, you just let us know and just pop off. But let's finish quotes real quick because I actually thought of a few others, but also one other very serious thing was just every time that it was really sweet though. When I watched it this time, I actually really enjoyed it. Was his obsession with One-Eyed Willie, Sean Astin's character, and he's like it's like almost like this weird thing where he like looks up to him as somebody he's been chasing his whole life, and he had the idea, don't take from his stash or whatever.
Well, I think the most
Willie's personal, don't take from his personal stash. It's just so funny.
I think the most awkward scene is when he's like talking to him and the kids are like, he's realizing all the kids are in the room. It's like, what was that? I don't even know what just happened.
yeah, they're all like, how long you guys been there? Long enough.
Long enough for what? Like, what are both sides implying here? Like, I don't even get it. Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know how to classify it. It's just one of those inexplicable 80s things where it's like, I'm not sure.
Well, and on that note, I'm gonna get off. But thanks you guys for having me.
Hey,
thanks guys.
perfect. Hey, Robert, thanks for being on, man.
Thanks for being on.
Bye.
Peace. So I remember the thing I was thinking of though is when they threatened to put Chung's hand in the blender. He's like, I want you to tell us everything. Everything. He goes, okay. In the 3rd grade, I cheated on my history exam. In the 4th grade, he goes through like all these weird things. He used his uncle's toupee and glued it on my face when I was Moses in the school play. No, Hebrew school play. I love that. In 5th grade, I pushed my sister Edie down the stairs and I blamed it on the dog. Oh my gosh. So funny.
Well, and when he's talking about the throwing up on everybody, like that totally reminds me of Stand By Me, that story when he throws up and everybody's throwing up on each other. It's a great story.
That's right. Yeah. At the all you can eat contest, or the eating contest, right? And then it reminded me of Heavyweights when he's like, my mom sent me to summer camp for fat kids, and they served lunch. I go nuts and pigged out, and they kicked me out. There's so much fat shaming. Poor Chunk, dude. Oh my gosh. So funny. Oh my word.
We just do if you recommend it or while you're looking up other ones?
Yeah, I just the ones I wrote down, that was pretty much all of them because I quoted most of the ones I loved, but
Yeah. Cameron, do you recommend this?
One-Eyed Willie.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a great film. It's a great thing to grow your children up on. I mean, I grew up on it, and it sort of corrupted me slightly.
Well, if you're into Stranger Things, this,
it's
Stranger
just
Things
the 80s
was
version of Stranger Things.
Yes, Stranger Things took a huge inspiration from the show. I mean, there's lots of little Easter eggs for this movie, and obviously E.T. and all its other inspirations like Evil Dead, but this is amongst those.
In my notes, one last thing. When you introduced every character, what was the short-haired girl doing? This is the only reference I'm making to this poor character. She was there as like the second wheel.
Third wheel, you mean?
Andy. Third wheel, basically. She's like bobbing for lobsters. What exactly is she doing? Like,
I know
she's like bobbing for crabs. Yeah, she's like she has her
pops
head in the
out,
water.
and then she just
The
throws,
cops
like, a
drive by
crab.
the dock. She comes up out of the water and has a crab in her hand, like a giant ass crab, and throws it over her head like it was nothing.
That was really random.
What's her backstory?
And why?
What's that about?
And why is every single like 80s car chase end up on a dock? Like, I love how every single car chase always ends up on a dock, and then usually somebody diving off into like the river or the ocean.
Well, that's because they have to end somewhere, and so that's where they end up, you know.
Okay. I think your logic is flawed.
The road's got to end eventually, Cameron, and it's probably going to end at the dock.
Oh my gosh! What my favorite too, when the mobsters find Chester Copperpot, his dead body. He's like, kids cleaned him out.
Yeah, he's checking his wallet.
Like the kids robbed him, and he goes, "Sure." Right before they ate him. I thought that was so funny.
That was fucking hilarious.
So funny.
Kids cleaned him out.
Declared about.
Mom,
Why is that so funny?
Kids cleaned him out. That is the
cleaned
best
him out.
line in the movie. I forgot about that.
Oh my gosh, that's great. That's great. So yeah, this is a hard recommendation for me for
Yes,
sure.
100%.
Everything Sloth says is so iconic, and Chunk, their relationship, that's like one of the greatest buddy stories. You know.
It's a lot like Back to the Future, if we're talking about films it's like.
Yeah,
And Stranger
it does
Things.
have just a sense of adventure kind of movie. It's just so
And it's
great.
one of those older PGs that does say a few dirty jokes and some swear words, so...
Speaking of that, last thing I can't go without being said. They drop the little statue, and then David's like, fall off. And he goes, "You think your mom's gonna notice? Of course she's gonna notice. It's her favorite piece." Like, I'm assuming he meant favorite piece of art, not piece.
Of the
I always
art,
thought she was referring to, like, I was like, why is the her favorite part like her favorite piece? I thought he meant like favorite piece. I think he meant piece of art. I just never caught that as a kid. I still thought, like, even like I had to think of it twice. I'm like, it's her favorite piece. Is he talking about? Okay. Anyway, I talked enough about that. So funny.
Yeah, we went on a little long for that part.
Yeah, let's keep talking about this part.
I'm just fixated on that, man. It's hilarious. That doesn't happen in every movie. Okay. Well, and then she's like, "What is that?" And he goes, "Oh gosh, what?"
And then his joy and like relief when she mentions the fact that she's like, "Oh, just clean up those chips." He's like, "Oh, okay."
Well, I love that. That's a total shout out to our mom. Like, moms do notice everything. When he's like, mom's gonna notice. They notice everything. It's so true.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm hungry. My stomach growls when when there's trouble. It's like such a, he's a Winnie the Pooh bear. All right, we're getting off. Everybody. Oh, real quick, I haven't said what you guys all watched and seen lately.
Yeah.
Come on, Chip.
I gotta hear what you guys have been watching.
Trying to end it early.
Yeah. We'll share. Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna say write in your emails, but I think we do it at the end, right? So let's do it now. Cameron, what have you been watching lately, dude?
Well, so
We're looking forward to seeing.
in 1 week I will watch season 3 of Cobra Kai twice. In 2
Oh, I was just going to
sittings.
mention this show. If you like Cobra Kai, you would like this show too. Yeah.
Yes.
So I've watched season 3 the first time in one sitting, just me and Grant, and then we rewatched. I rewatched the entire season in one sitting with my roommates, and oh my gosh, this show definitely benefits from watching with the crowd
Don't spoil it. I haven't finished season 3 yet.
because we
Oh,
loved
Jordan,
we
finish it. It's so
like
good.
like we were just roasting characters. It was super funny. Like we were roasting just like not necessarily like the film, but we were just kind of like roasting certain characters, which was so much fun. And then also I watched one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It's made my top 10 worst films of all time list. Wonder Woman 1984, baby. Holy cow.
Was it that bad?
Dude, it's the greatest comedy of the year. It's like Martian level, you know, when they like mess around with Martian, giving it the comedy of the year. Like that's what I would give to Wonder Woman 1984. Me and my roommates, we were laughing so hard. The film makes literally zero sense. Nothing in the plot. Like there's just
Cameron, wait,
terrible.
so is it next to the Justice League? Like, where would you put it?
Yeah, it's actually above. It's actually above Justice League. It's worse than Justice League.
Oh, jeez.
But Jordan, you'll enjoy you have to watch it in a group. I enjoyed it more than Justice League. Justice League, I literally just thought was a waste of my time.
Well, Kevin, our guest on Court Jester, said that he liked it.
I couldn't help but notice that it was kept at a nice 60%, the absolute minimum for a fresh rating. For some reason, I just don't think that enough critics out there could bear to give this
a female-led,
directed, female-led movie. I mean, did they ever think that a movie called Wonder Woman would be
literally
incredible?
every single guy is personified as like the most misogynistic like douchebag of all time. Like, okay, there's one scene where a girl like she gets magical powers, so she's more like Gal Gadot, and so she's like all of a sudden like very attractive now or whatever. It literally she just does her hair and like learns to walk in heels. It's the dumbest shit as ever, and
then guys start objectifying her.
Every single guy in the street. She walks past 6 guys in the street, and every single one's like, "Hey, hottie. Hey, pretty. Hey, come here, girl." I'm like, what? This is not like every single guy is catcalling her in the street. I was like, this is the most like stupid.
Well, you go down to Argentina, where I was for 2 years. They will.
I know. I was joking. I was like, what? I was joking.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I was like, what?
In Chile, they'd have no problem catcalling you.
I was just joking. I was like, what is she walking down like Vegas Strip or whatever? I'm like, what is happening, man? Like nowhere on earth would you ever.
I totally get what you're saying. And it's like it's the same person, but it's like, oh, you did up your hair, and then everyone like starts noticing her, like, whoa, hey, mama. It's so excessive. It's so dumb.
That's funny.
And then also, I watched Soul for the first time. Fantastic movie. We're gonna do a mini episode on that. Great overall message. Really satisfied with it.
Ty, did you watch that movie that you were supposed to?
Dude, I'm going to get to the movies I've been watching. I was supposed to watch Soul, but I watched Cobra Kai until midnight.
Oh, brother.
So freaking good.
And then...
Couldn't stop it. Couldn't stop watching.
And then I rewatched 17 again. I hadn't seen it in a couple years. It's been like 4 or 5 years. And I love that movie. I don't know. I just really
great.
enjoy.
It's because it's got a father or a daughter hitting on the father. Cameron loves those plot lines.
My favorite is when he's like, our hands just made a baby.
Dude, his nerdiness and like the fact they speak the elf language, dude, had me laughing so hard. I was like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. And then
I love when he walks in and he goes, I object, Your Honor. He's like, we haven't even started yet. Sorry, just got carried away. Seemed like the right thing to say.
Yeah. Also, okay, one big plot hole in that. First off, why would his daughter ever go for him if she knew that he was her cousin? Mad sauce, super weird. That's why I thought they could have just totally like gotten over that thing of like not having to like cross that awkward bridge, because she told him, "Oh yeah, I'm uncle like so and so's kid." So he's like, "Oh okay." He's like, "Yeah, my dad told me to like do that." So that's why like him and his cousin, like his son, got along super well, and they were like cousins. But then like the daughter's like trying to hit on him as if he's like the new kid in school, and I'm like, he's still your cousin. Like what the and then also I just recently watched
Cameron, I think it's legal in some states, so take it easy.
Yeah, Sweet Home Alabama. And then me and my roommates, we just finished the first season of Daredevil. I really enjoyed it. I picked up like on episode 6 of the season because they were already going, and they're like, yeah, you haven't missed much. This is pretty much what you missed. Just hop in right now. And I don't know, I've really loved it. The first season's really solid. It's a pretty...
Cameron, I don't know if you remember Zach Baddis. I used to do summer sales with this kid. He does not watch TV. He only watches Arrow, or if it's Green Arrow. It's like the Green Arrow.
It's Arrow, yeah.
Arrow. Or no, was it Punisher? It was either that and Flash. Those are the only 2 TV shows he will watch.
Arrow and Flash.
Loves those. He does not like anything else.
Yeah,
he does
that's
love all
from
the Marvel
CW.
stuff, but he loves those. Yeah, Flash. I've heard it's really good.
I really enjoyed Flash and Arrow, like the first couple seasons when they came out, and then they started kind of running out of ideas. And
you need to watch
Pun
Punisher.
intended, running
I will.
out of ideas. I catch this. Very good, Cameron. Flash running.
I love Cameron does all these things accidentally. Like he did on the other podcast about zombies. He's like, they've got no brains. And
I know.
not even realizing
so
it. He's so clever, he doesn't even know it.
Natural
Doesn't
pun
know
maker. And then what I'm looking forward to, obviously season 2 and 3 of Daredevil. Can't wait for more.
Oh, and
Cobra Kai
watch
to
The
come
Punisher,
out.
Cameron. Oh,
And
bitch.
The Punisher as well. And then
Season 1.
I really just want to watch. I've had I See You on my list for a while.
We're going to do it on the
Yes, Kim.
podcast, so if you want, you can wait.
Well, I'm gonna watch it again for the podcast. So, but I really want to watch it with a crowd.
It's good. It's yeah. I think that one's pretty appropriate.
It is. There's nothing bad in it.
Okay, my roommates watch The Boys unedited, so I'm not really worried about that.
Yeah, you got some pretty sick roommates, dude.
Yeah, I do. I love it. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm looking forward to.
Awesome. Jordan, how about you?
Yeah, dude, I watched some wild
Also,
films.
sorry, I rewatched the Batman trailer for like the 4th and 5th time.
Oh, isn't it the best thing in the planet? You know what trailer I've been watching a lot?
I'm so worried, guys. I just don't see how this could be. I mean, like, I want it to be the best movie. I just like it's one of the best trailers. I just don't know.
You're building it up too much.
I'm gonna separate myself from the trailer. And
Yes.
I'll be like, oh, this is the one crappy movie, and then I'll just watch it for that.
Yeah,
But-
stop building it up too much. It's okay.
I'm expecting Batman vs Superman or Wonder Woman
Yeah,
1984 Part 2.
Yeah, it'll be, and you go and you're like, it's gonna be 1984, and you're like, oh, at least it wasn't Wonder Woman 1984. So.
Yeah, that trailer is unbelievable. But a trailer I've been really into lately that I've watched a lot is the Nobody. I've watched that trailer so many times now. I'm kind of bummed because I'm like, crap, I'm building it up too much. Like, I'm so excited.
And you're trying to connect the dots. You're like, how does that scene link to that one, right? You're like trying to piece together the story. Sometimes it's fun to go in blind.
Yes,
I do that more now.
I know, I need to stop doing that. But you know the director, he made Hardcore Henry, and he also did that music video, Bad Mother Effer. That's a good... I'm not worried about him at all.
I don't know if I know that music video. Who does that
I'll
one?
have to send you a link to it. I showed Cameron it. It's really cool. It's the one where the guy has a teleporter that he puts in water and it can...
Oh, yeah, I know that video.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen that video.
He just does really good
That's what
fight scenes.
sparked off the desire to do a POV movie. Hardcore
Yeah,
Henry
Hardcore
came
Henry.
from that video, yeah.
Well, he knows how to do really good fight scenes, so I'm not worried about the visuals being great. So, I mean, as you can see by the
That'd be
trailer,
great.
it looks fun.
Let's just hope, there's at least some sustenance to chew off the bone, and it's not Death
even if
Wish,
there's only
but it's more
action.
like John Wick.
Yeah, John Wick, exactly. Is there a whole lot of depth to John Wick? No, it's just you watch it for the action. Sometimes during the story, I'm like, all right, speed this up.
Death Wish. Death Wish doesn't have a lot of sustenance, not a lot of meat. I want a 1981, a fettuccine.
The only
thing we serve here is tongue. You like tongue, boys? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the movies I watched these movies are bad shiz crazy. I watched Beyond Reanimator, so it's the third film in the trilogy, and oh my goodness, if it isn't the craziest film I've ever seen in my life. So the guy that did the practical effects in the first one directed this one, and his name's Brian Usna. Anyways, he does
Usna?
really.
Usna?
Yuska?
He's up there with the movie you just saw with History of Violence. What's that guy's director's name?
David Cronenberg.
Thank you. He's up there with Cronenberg. He just makes the most disgusting, disturbing visuals I've ever seen in my life.
The
So
Reanimators, are super grisly.
yeah, but so good. So
crazy.
anyways, really funny, weird movie. Then I watched, which I think we should do a mini episode on, is a Battle Royale. Really good. It's Hunger Games before Hunger Games was Hunger
Have you
Games.
seen that, Cameron?
No, I need to watch it.
Put that right on your list.
It's
Like, if
it's
you
on my
want a
it's on my
film
watch
that-
list. That I've
you will
always wanted to
start
watch it with
I
Jordan,
think-
and Jordan's
I
always like,
think 6
no,
minutes
sci-fi.
in- no, Cameron, if you thought Hunger Games dropped my mind, and then I watched this, and I was like, Hunger Games is like Nerf compared to like paintball
Yes.
or just actual Marines going. I'm not kidding.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I fell asleep during the first Hunger Games. I watched. It was a bad order. I watched the second one in theaters first because I went with a group, and I hadn't seen the first one. And then I watched the first one, and I got like 45 minutes in, and I fell asleep.
Well, yeah, the Hunger Games hadn't even started. That's the thing. The Hunger Games, it's like the last 30 or 25 minutes. This movie, I think it's after like 6 minutes. You're like, welcome. It's like, holy shit, dude. Start.
Opening scene, kid gets a knife in his face.
Oh, hey, whoa! Spoilers. Watch it, Cameron.
Yeah, if you don't know when
Yeah,
it's
that's what I'm
coming,
saying.
it just happens. It's Battle Royale. Cameron plays Battle... What's that game called?
It
Fortnite. Isn't Battle Royale like one of the
literally haven't
versions?
played that in 3 years.
Yeah, you're obsessed with it.
Yeah, Cameron knows all about Fortnite. I haven't
Cameron's
played
so
in 3 years.
obsessed, yeah.
Cameron's such a nerd. He's
Yeah,
such a
but Cameron,
gamer.
you played like nonstop for like however long straight, right?
Yeah, like 3 months.
Whatever. It was like 50 years.
So, Jordan, you were getting into some other films you were watching? A lot of
There was
films.
2 other ones, but you can go first. I'm trying to think what they were.
So I watched Cobra Kai season 3. I absolutely loved it.
No spoilers.
Starts off slow.
Yeah, I won't spoil anything. It is so good, and I will say I like, and again, this is just a general speaking. I like that they didn't have to do as much fighting, but the relationships and the drama can honestly. I think it was a testament to the show that in this season, not as much fighting as I think there was in season 2, but the show was even more fulfilling and understanding characters and their motivations. So I really enjoyed it for that, and I think this show is going to be around for a long time. Like, it just doesn't get old.
I only had 2 gripes. I needed more Johnny Lawrence, and then there was a little too many flashbacks.
Yeah, I think that's interesting that you say that, because I'd love to talk to you once Jordan's watched it. We'll definitely have to talk about it because,
Yes.
yeah, I agree with your criticisms, and yet I feel like it's a darn near perfect show. I really do, for a lot of reasons. But Cameron, we should, but seriously, you should not say so many aggressive things, micro and macro, about my favorite show, okay?
Dude, okay, that's in Goonies when he throws away, he's like, I don't need this. When he throws away his inhaler, I thought of Johnny Lawrence. Leave all that asthma and those allergies and all that made up bullcrap.
Oh my gosh, last nitpick, Sean Astin's character is like, oh, who needs it? Well, if you have
do.
asthma, you still need it.
That's what all my roommates said. As soon as he said, who needs it? Everyone's like, you, so you don't die?
Okay, so
I love it.
I got the other ones on my list. Sorry, really quick. I
let's hear
watched Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl, which I wanted to wait for before the podcast, but my roommate's like, you have to watch it. So we watched it, and yeah, I loved it. Got all emotional at the end. Gosh dang it.
Super good, dude.
Just like
So
Soul,
well
I just
done.
bawled my eyes out. And then, yeah, really emotional, very good. I'm excited to dive more into it on the pod when we talk about it. And then I also watched 8mm with Nicolas Cage. Not one I recommend, but enjoyed the ending. The beginning, man, it's rough, just because of the world he dives into. But
What's like the standout thing that Nick does in that movie? Does he freak out?
yeah,
Or
there's a
does he
few
have
scenes.
line?
I might have to do a clip. You know how I Photoshop like the next movie coming out? I might have to Photoshop like him freaking out.
That's all you have to do.
Yeah, well, this one he freaks out a few times. It's amazing, and I love the beginning too when he's watching, because he's diving into the world of snuff films, and so he's watching the film, and every time the person, like as he's watching it, he's like twitching and stuff, and it's like really funny. So I love Nicolas Cage so much. And then 2 other films I watched have 2 of the same actors in it, and one of them has the actor from it's The Deep from The Boys.
No
the movie's
way.
called movie's called The Mountain Men, and it was actually, I thought it was a comedy, but it turns out it's a survival movie, so it was actually really good. Reminds me of Jungle, which I love, but I don't know if Ty was a big fan of. And then
was a good
also
one.
I liked it. It's a good B film.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
this
it's
is
a good
this
B film.
B film.
is
It's good B film.
it's good B film. Yeah, that's what I've been watching this weekend is all B films. And then Big Bear, another good B film. They their best friend they're on a bachelor party, but the friend that's getting married, his wife just broke up with him for another guy, and so the friends, while he was sleeping and they got plastered that night to make him feel better, one of the friends went out and kidnapped the guy that was cheating on his friend. You know, the reason the girl broke up with him was for this guy, so he kidnaps the guy, they bring him back, and they got to decide what to do with him. It's really funny. So
Sounds like Hangover.
well, minus the they did kidnap the little Asian man. These Chinese.
So after I watched Cobra Kai season 3, I was gonna watch Soul, but I was too tired. So you guys are gonna have to do that without me. We watched Goonies, obviously, and then I watched David Cronenberg's A History of Violence. I'm a big Viggo Mortensen fan. Big Cronenberg.
We're doing that movie on the
fan, so I was
podcast,
excited to watch
so-
this movie. What's that?
We're doing this movie on the podcast, so I hope you've prepared to watch it a second
History of
time.
Violence?
Yes, I love it.
I'd rather talk about The Fly or...
Well, I'm gonna do almost all
Or
his
even
films.
Possessor,
I'm gonna do
but-
them all. I'm just saying we'll do like mini episodes. I'm not gonna do a full length one.
I don't know. I didn't really care for History of Violence as
Oh,
much
so
as
good.
I thought it would.
So good.
It's all right.
I overhyped it.
It's a... Maybe,
How does it not make you think of a
overhype
Western
it.
when the guy comes in, he, shut up, B! And he's like those psychopaths in the bar?
No, I mean, look, I think there are 4 gold nuggets in this movie, but
Yeah.
overall, the hour and 34 minutes to watch it, I'm
Oh.
just cut out my
No.
4 favorite scenes. And that's the thing. I feel like if they made this movie now, there could even be a better, it's called The History of Violence, and at the very end, you're left completely ambiguous to what the whole repercussions of all this is. And maybe there's enough clues throughout the movie to understand where they're going, but I didn't feel like there was. It's like, I have no idea what the effects of the son is going to have. I have no idea what the effects that it's going to have on the daughter. I have no idea what the effects it's going to have on the wife. And the movie ends. It's like, I mean, I know what's going to do to the Viggo. I know Viggo Mortensen's character, what it's going to do to him, because you've seen enough of him in the movie, but I just don't think there was enough for the other. Anyway.
Dude, but those violent scenes are amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and there was great prosthetics. I mean, getting his nose shot off, I'm like, that's Cronenberg for you. He just loved those practical effects. There's two amazing, where I'm like, holy cow, that's very gratuitous almost in a way.
So
but it's
good.
Like, that's just Cronenberg. He loves those.
But I'll sit through an hour.
effects.
If there's only one like really intense moment, I'll sit through an hour of nothing happening. I love it.
And I
If
think
the
to
payoff
its
is worth it.
detriment, it starts really, really well, and then it meanders a little bit.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the intro is way better than the
The
ending.
intro was very exciting. In fact,
Oh, yeah.
I was really excited, and I almost was let down
Oh,
because
built
you had
it
an
up too
actor
much.
like Ed Harris. Without spoiling it, it just like, I'm like, I want more Ed Harris. I think he's a great actor.
Yes.
I think he worked really good opposite of Ego, and then you're like, I didn't really care for the mob boss at the end. I didn't feel any
you're
chemistry
good point.
with him.
Yeah, he was kind of like. Eh.
So anyway, see, I have all these picks because I was like, I really feel like they could redo this movie. Like,
Well,
I don't like remakes.
like I said,
but it's
I
like,
think we should do a mini episode on it. Not a full length, but a mini.
yeah, maybe many years from now, many millennia from now. Anyway, that's why I watched it, because I wanted to see it, because I love Cronenberg and I love
Ty,
Viggo. I
watch
think
Eastern
Viggo's-
Promises. Another.
That might have been the movie that I was actually trying.
You
to
should have
watch.
watched that one. Yeah.
I'll end up watching Eastern Promises now. Anyway, and then I think that's it as far as movies that I've watched. What I'm looking forward to is seeing Mandalorian season 2. I'm gonna mooch off of Mom. Hope you don't die of COVID, Mom. We love you. Please don't die of COVID, even though you tested positive for it.
You haven't seen Mandalorian season 2 yet?
I'm not, because I have not
behind the
found
times.
a free Disney Plus subscription that I could mooch off of.
Man, you are slow.
I refuse to give Netflix or Disney my money, so I have to steal it from you guys. So I finally watched Cobra Kai off of the family account, and then I finally begged Mom for the Disney Plus just to watch Mandalorian, and I'm done. Like, that's it. I
Well,
just need
and
to watch
Soul.
Mandalorian. Oh, and then I'll have to watch Soul, I guess, if there's time.
If there's time. Oh my gosh, you're such a
If
bum.
there's time. No, but again,
If
it's
you
the
like
first
Inside
time
Out,
I'm gonna
you'll
have to
like it,
admit-
Ty.
I mean, I would love to come on the podcast, and I don't care about spoiling, but I don't think I'd be much of a host if I had never seen it. So I'll definitely watch it this week, and then love to give you my 2 cents after I see it. But
Yeah.
anything else you guys looking forward to? Everybody, thanks for tuning in. This was the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. Write in emails asking us questions about the movies we reviewed in the past or movies that you'd like us to review in the future. Ask us personal questions, deep personal questions toward Cameron. Leave all the surface level to me and Jordan. Just really get into why Cameron is so sadistic and narcissistic. That's what we want to know. That's what I'd like to know. And write in emails, leave us 5-star reviews, and tell us your friends and screenshot your phone and upload it to the interwebs. Let everybody know that you're listening to us cool, koofy guys talking about
So, you know, there's a share button. They don't have to take a screenshot.
Yeah. You want to, like, screenshot yourself listening to it.
No, not a screenshot. You want to take
I don't know. Do whatever you
link.
do to send it to the internet.
whatever kids do these
That's
days.
from Cobra Kai season 2. You would know if you watched it, Jordan.
Their iComputers.
Send it to the internet.
Send out one of those hash browns. Make it really cool. And send it to the internet. All right. This is Futro Hidden Movie Gems signing off. Peace.
Bye.